Hello and welcome to part 2 of a very unusual narrowboat journey on water that is normally forbidden to powered boats. At the end of part 1 we were mooring up in Cambridge below Jesus Lock, ready to go on to the Backs.
The Backs is the stretch of the River Cam that is right in the middle of the city of Cambridge, surrounded on either side by all the historic colleges of the university. Not normally open to powered boats for navigation, but during the winter we're allowed to take narrowboats up there. Most of the time it's used by punts and kayaks and other man-powered craft, and just get a bit too crowded and dangerous, I think, in the summer. We'll be going right through the middle of probably 6 or 7 of the oldest Cambridge colleges. So starting with Magdalen and St John's, Trinity, Clare, King's, Queen's, and then a little bit of Darwin when we get to the end of the navigation and turn round. So wide range of architectural styles and ages of buildings. I think the main other thing we need to look out for is that quite a number of the bridges go right down to the water's edge at the side, so we do need to make sure we go right through the middle of the bridges, and 1 or 2 of them are very low. We do fit, I'm confident of that, but there's not much room for error, and we certainly won't have anybody sitting on the roof. There won't be any other powered boats around. I'd expect we will see some punts on the river. There are 2 sorts: wide punts with a chauffeur who normally know what they're doing, and the smaller narrow punts which are driven by anybody, often hired by visiting tourists, which will normally go all over the place and not have any comprehension of the rule of the river or anything like that. We'll go very slowly on the river, and if we do hit a punt, then we will just gently bounce off each other. It's not been a problem to date.
The first thing we needed to do was go up through Jesus Lock onto the forbidden waters. The autumn leaves made for a colourful backdrop, as well as a swirling soup in the lock. Unlike the prior locks on the trip, these ones required good old-fashioned manual labour to operate, and the lock wasn't wide enough to let you sneak out by doing just one side. The family of teenage swans formed a royal entourage as the boat came out. We were now on the bit of the Cam that usually bans narrowboats, and straight away we encountered the traditional Cambridge punts, though as they'd all been advised we were coming, there were no shouts of horror or urgent manoeuvres. Very, very gently we edged forward towards the historic colleges. Scholars punting, Rutherford's punting, the Cambridge Punt Company. There are a quite absurd number of punting businesses along here, mostly quiet in November when this was filmed, but there were still plenty doing the tourist trade. Under Magdalen Bridge, which I couldn't film more of as the sun was pointing straight into the camera. Not a college, but an advertising agency is based in here, I believe.
1542. I don't know if you realise, but this part of the River Cam is part of the navigation. You're actually able to take...
This punt operator gave his clients quite the pointed verdict on narrowboats being allowed along here.
They quite often ground and get into trouble, but they are allowed here.
Not a fan, I presume. An overhanging tree with an oncoming punt meant a tricky stop for Simon on the tiller as the gentle breeze tried to push the narrowboat sideways while we waited for the pole-driven boat to come through. But passing that point brought us to the most spectacular view on the backs, that of the Bridge of Sighs. Built in 1831, it joins New Court and Third Court of St John's College and was nicknamed after the bridge in Venice. That's New Court, built at the same time as the bridge in response to demand for student housing. And that's Third Court, far older, dating from 1669. It's all very Harry Potter. I half expected to see wizards on broomsticks sweeping under the arch.
1624, 1672.
Another tourist punt approached in the distance, coming through the centre arch of Kitchen Bridge, which we'd also need to go through in order to have enough room. But at this speed there was plenty of time for us both to pass. This bridge is the second oldest in the city, constructed around 1710 and apparently carved from a single colossal block of limestone. We passed the Wren Library, designed by Sir Christopher Wren in 1676. Amongst thousands of books, it has an original copy of Sir Isaac Newton's Principia Mathematica. Trinity Bridge is next. Built in 1764, it links to Trinity College, as you'd expect. The college was founded in 1546 by King Henry VII, merging two even older colleges which dated back to the early 1300s. Another set of punts sits between Trinity and Garrett Hostel Bridge, which is the pedestrian overpass you see ahead. The banging noise is coming from building works at Clare College, which you'll get a glimpse of in a moment. There it is. At 700 years, it's the second oldest college at the university. No surprise it needs a little building work. Also unsurprisingly, this is Clare Bridge, the oldest of the bridges, being built in 1640 and one of only two that were left intact after the English Civil War, which broke out just after the bridge was finished. During the war, Oliver Cromwell demolished other bridges using their stone to reinforce Cambridge Castle. And that's King's College Bridge behind it, a youngster being completed in 1820, though it replaced several prior bridges dating back to the 1400s. The Gibbs building of King's College sits here to the side of its world-famous chapel, which Cromwell's troops used as a training ground, though it escaped damage in those exercises, possibly because Cromwell himself had been a student here and gave orders for it to be preserved.
Anyway, I've been doing this for many years. 1965, they left a message across the towers reading "Peace in Vietnam." And just a few weeks ago.
Here we go under King's College Bridge. The Kennedy Building, designed by G.L. Kennedy, part of Bodley's Court within King's College. And then we approached Mathematical Bridge, designed in 1748 and rebuilt to that same design in 1905. The bridge connects to President's Lodge on the east side, the oldest building on the river. Mathematical Bridge is apparently an example of a voussoir arch, in which the strength comes from all the timbers being compressed against each other by gravity. It's just under 51 feet long. At this point, we were almost at the end of the navigable stretch, with the river turning through 90 degrees to the right after the next bridge, Silver Street Bridge. There are a lot of punting companies on this corner and no visibility of anything coming around the corner, so another guest with me in the bow was put on lookout duty. As we turned, a helpful punt operator shouted advice.
Hey guys, spin around here, you'll get beached if you go any further. Too shallow. So spin around there.
I'm not sure whether Simon heard him or simply preferred to see for himself, but we carried on regardless. The end point is literally where you can see that tree in the middle. But before we got there, just time to admire Darwin College Library, I believe.
Yeah, the rollers are just over there.
And a random building with a balcony that I know nothing about. Here, the punter's prediction proved positive, as we struggled to turn on abnormally shallow waters. Simon's done it with no problem many times before, but this day saw drastically low levels, as evidenced by the mud from the bottom that we stirred up. But turn we did, and with the sun now behind us and sinking fast, we went back the way we'd come. There were still some punts about, now being avoided by my travelling companions, who were taking turns on the tiller. To recap then, this is King's College Bridge. Clare College, Clare Bridge with punts, King's College Chapel, from which a world-famous Christmas carol service is broadcast each year, through Clare Bridge, here's Garrett Hostel Bridge,
Third one. But I don't know if you count this middle one. But we'll see.
punts at Trinity Bridge,
However, Trinity College went to his family home, went to its wall, and went to the tree and removed the collar. And they brought it here to keep.
that's the new court of St John's College. Of course, the Bridge of Sighs. And past the tree that sticks out that we had to wait at earlier. We were just yards from the end, and once we'd moored, I asked the guests what they thought.
It's a trip that very few people have done. Even getting to the Cam is an expedition, but to do the last bit is it's a real pleasure.
Just stunningly beautiful. I just love all the history of all the universities, just beautiful.
My thanks both to them and especially my host Simon, whose narrowboat I was aboard. This was a spectacular privilege, a trip not to be missed, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.